Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Navigating Your Career in a Virtual World, High-Speed Networking featuring Industry Roundtables, Session 6 as we close out this series. Today we will have High-Speed Networking featuring Industry Roundtables. I'd like to take a moment and introduce myself. My name is Nicole Green. I am the Alumni Engagement Manager for the School of Graziadio. Excited to be here. We've had a great series so far. And without further ado, I would like to turn it over to Jason Stubers, the Associate Director for Graziadio.
Great, and thank you so very much, Nicole. Before I get started, I would like to kindly remind everyone if they could mute themselves, and this session will also be recorded. So thank you for joining us today, and welcome to Session 6, our Navigating Your Career in a Virtual World 6-part series, High-Speed Networking featuring Industry Roundtables. You will hear from 3 expert panelists who will share their top networking tips and answer your networking questions. You will also have the opportunity to connect more deeply with the facilitators when we move into our industry breakout rooms. Feel free to ask questions in the chat function, as well as once you get into your breakout room to get advice on as you navigate your career journey. We are pleased to have an exceptional lineup of panelists today. First, you will hear from Nury Gomez, MBA 12 alumna, founder, Accounting Breeze, adjunct accounting professor at Graziadio Business School, and marketing chair for the Pepperdine Alumni Leadership Council. Next, you will hear from Lori Helferfinger, MSOD 97 alumna, managing principal at the Helferfinger Company. And thirdly, you will hear from Sean Herrera, executive MBA 14 alumnus, head of corporate relations and business development at the Graziadio Business School, practitioner faculty at the Graziadio Business School as well. Our industry roundtable facilitators include Jeff Cobalt, MBA 03 alumnus, architectural technical sales leader. For Acuity Brands will facilitate the entrepreneurship roundtable. Sunny Tan, MBA 17 alumna, head of human resources for Johnson & Johnson will facilitate the healthcare roundtable. Carlton Helfer, BSM 96 alumnus, general manager, team lead, and real estate advisor for Berkshire Hathaway Home Services California Properties will facilitate the marketing, communications, and sales roundtable. Pramod Kunju, MBA 08 alumnus, data guru at Nakunj and former data architect for Amgen will facilitate the technology roundtable. Nury Gomez will facilitate the banking and finance roundtable. Lori Helferfinger will facilitate the consulting roundtable, and Sean Herrera will facilitate the entertainment roundtable. Please remember your Graziadio Alumni Network can be a tremendous, valuable asset to you throughout your career. Don't forget to keep us posted about your career journey and your successes along the way, as well as share your knowledge and experiences by being a mentor or speaking in the classroom or serving in another volunteer capacity. Now I would like to turn it over to our alumni who will be sharing networking tips, starting with MBA alumna Nury Gomez.
Hi everyone, thank you, Jason. So I've been tasked with sharing 10 tips about career transitions and job seeking. And we wanted to share that basically you always need to arrive early, and don't be reluctant or shy about arriving early and making sure that you found parking and you're at the event location. That will help. But one of the biggest things that I wanted to bring up was, you know, right now, most of these tips that I'm bringing up are going to be for in-person and or virtual. And so I wanted to remind everyone that I know there's like that growing joke about I'm just changing my top and I show up at my virtual meetings on Zoom. But also, you know, even on a virtual Zoom, it also reflects your confidence. So you may want to be completely changed and not be in half your PJs for any virtual networking you may be doing. Um, always remember to listen and have your listening ears and smile, ready to speak up with any questions that people may ask you. Keep the conversation flowing. That's one of the main things. Like you could also have like a list of 3 things that you like to talk about, not necessarily the weather, but that is one of the topics you get, like what were you doing last weekend, or, you know, just kind of opening a conversation with people that you may not know or be familiar with to try to get to know what they do. And I'll go into this further in our breakout rooms, but it's also necessary to be familiar with your own story, right? So when you're being transparent and also being authentic, it's important to also share a story about yourself or have something that may be related to events or networking, that you won't be completely embarrassed by, but at least a good story that helps talk about, keep it on the career or the job seeking situation that you may be in. The other thing is having something to say about yourself in 15 seconds or 30 seconds or less, right? It's important to be able to know that, you know, I'm a graduate of Pepperdine University. I graduated in 2012, Graziadio, Pepperdine, right? And just like mention something about yourself. In my case, I kind of start out with the fact that I own a business now and I do accounting, but something that's interesting and short for yourself would be good. And then we've got to remember that when you're meeting everyone, that sometimes we make expressions and facial expressions that might get us into trouble. So we have to keep a mind about that, because you may be discounting someone that you meet that is actually well known or regarded and respected, but when you met them for the first time, they didn't make quite an impression on you. But it's always important to make sure that you're listening and that you keep them in mind, that there's something that they may be able to attribute. I always like to think that you're not meeting people by accident. I was actually talking with someone yesterday, and we were talking about how with Pepperdine, there's been a lot of situations where we have serendipity, and it just somehow you meet someone that connects you with something that leads you to the next career or pathway that you're looking for. And all you did was have a conversation with someone that you didn't even expect it to go in that direction. So, and then of course we just exit gracefully. Always make sure that you say it was nice meeting the person, and and keep it moving, right? Like if you're going to the restroom or you're not coming back to like if you're already in a group with someone, you may want to make sure that that they know that you're not coming back. Sometimes people are very nice and they want to like save your spot if you're standing at one of those standing up tables and stuff. So make sure you check out and make sure you're getting like business cards and connecting with people. One of the things that after I leave networking events, I always go back to the business cards I've collected with people, and then I connect with them on LinkedIn right away. So that would be some quick tips there. And now we'll pass it to Lori.
Those are great, Nury. I love those. Hi, everyone. Looking forward to talking to you, meeting you later in breakout if you're coming to my breakout room. So we'll go straight into my tips. I have my top 10, and 3 of them I think are super, super important. So I bolded those and put those first and in green, and I'll refer back to them. So the first one really is pay it forward. So I think really be of service. And so during the pandemic, my organization has been pumping out free blogs with lots of content and webinars. My clients and colleagues are very heavily marketed to. And so being able to offer articles or services or things, I think is super, super important. Second, super important to be curious about the person. Nury talked about don't discount anyone. Well, I think it's easy not to discount if you're interested in them first. The thing you don't want to do is just to start off talking about yourself and what you're selling. So things to be curious about: their industry, their business, their job, their personal situation. And on the personal situation, this is great conversation starter. If you can remember or take note of it, a great way to start the conversation. Hey, how's your kids? How was that transition when your kids went to college? Also being curious about their industry or their business or their job, that gives you data. It allows you to ask more questions, helps you know what might be relevant given what you offer. And it keeps you up to date. I've been out of corporate America for a long time. And so the way that I get up to date is being curious. And then I can share that information on with other people. Number 3 is build relationships. So it's all about relationship. Business is done through relationships. So when you're in relationship, people are assessing you. Do I like you? Do I resonate with you? Do you have something I can offer? Would you be the kind of person I would bring into my organization or introduce to my family? So relationships are also an exchange, but it starts with you going first, you giving first. So back to number 1, pay it forward, be curious. Once you've demonstrated interest in them, and this has got to be authentic, by the way, then you can share your own personal situation, your work, and your learnings. So many of my sales have come through a series of conversations. And then maybe in the 4th or 5th conversation, we actually talk business. But I never quite know in any given relationship where it's going to go. The other thing is I look on my whiteboard and I've got 13 clients listed, and I was just looking at them. 12 out of 13 of them I got through relationships. One of them came through a conference. So again, super important, this relationship. Ultimately, especially in the consulting field, the client is buying you. So how you are in relationship means to the client, that's how you're going to show up with them. Number 4 is get on boards. So my entire career, I've been on professional association boards and nonprofits. Especially when you're on the board versus being in the organization, you really get to know the people intimately that you're working with, and they get to know you. And then just naturally, people are more likely to refer you. And or I've found people to hire that way as well. It's also a great way to get back to your profession, your passion project, or your favorite charity. And then which boards to join? Well, for me, it's helpful if it's a board in your profession or complementary profession or where your target audience is. So for example, 80% of my business has come out of MSOD alums or former colleagues from my corporate jobs. So alums is where most of my work comes from. Number 5, start small. So I have a list of my top 20. And these are the people that I just stay in touch with regularly. These are my advocates. These are colleagues, former bosses, former clients. One of my former bosses years ago introduced me to someone at Northrop Grumman. And as a result of that, I ended up with an 8-year gig because of that relationship. So have people in your top 20. Number 6, be Don't waste other people's time. Nothing is more aggravating than going to lunch with someone or being on a phone call and they're wandering around and you don't know why they called you, what they want from you. So have an agenda or at least some outcomes, and kind of up front, tell the person you're networking with what you're looking for.
Lori, about 1 minute. Thank you.
Okay. Number 7, be active, but don't be attached. So when you're networking with someone, don't think that you absolutely have to get work from that person. Be consistent, have a rhythm of connecting. Number 9, do not sell. Consultants have a bad name because of this, and you're making it bad for all of us. So don't sell. Sales cycles in the consulting field can be as long as 6 to 18 months. And finally, do not ask me to tell you my story until you've told me yours first. I have no context to share with you if I don't know what you're looking for. Anyway, I can tell you more in my breakout. So Sean, over to you.
Thanks, Lori. My name's Sean Herrera. I'm the Director of Corporate Relations here at Graziadio Business School. So basically what I try to do is work with corporations and get them to send their employees to be students here at Pepperdine. How do you do that? Well, getting connected to C-level executives. How do you do that? That'll be the next slide in a second. I'm also a practitioner faculty here at Graziadio, and I teach classes in leadership. So that's kind of a fun thing to do. My next slide there, if I can bring it up, Nicole. So I have 5 tips for you. Not a lot, not too little. Hopefully just 5 are good. And the last one's about LinkedIn. And kind of like Lori said, selling is not networking. That's annoying. Selling is annoying. Networking is relationship building. Build relationships, and then the sales will follow, or the connection, or whatever else you need. So first worry about relationships, then later worry about the sale. The most annoying thing is someone connects me on LinkedIn, and the next thing I get is them selling, would you like to buy this? Oh, there's no context. I don't know who you are. Let me just unfriend you. I'm done. Everyone's favorite radio station. What is it? WIIFM. What's in it for me? Never tell someone what you want. They don't care what you want. They care what they want, right? What's in it for me? Always go with that mindset. People actually want to talk to you at that point. Reciprocity. People feel obliged to you if you first give to them. If you want to go into a networking event, whether it be virtual, whether it be in person, you just want to take, people are going to avoid you. If you're the giver, then they want to help you out, no matter how small it is. You think, oh, I'm just a student. What could I give? There's something you can probably do for that C-level executive. And if you do that first, just in human emotion, there's a whole bunch of research behind it. They will feel they owe you. Even if they don't want to, they feel they owe you. Whether you just bring them a drink during the event or just tell them something they want to know. If you can give first, they'll want to give back to you, owe you a favor. Relationships are like banks. Number 4, if we all go to the ATM and try to make withdrawals before deposits, what happens? You don't get any money. It doesn't work that way. You first make deposits, then you get to make withdrawals. The cool thing with relationships, though, is you can make a small deposit and the interest is phenomenal. You come back in 3 months and it really pays off. So make those small deposits, then you can make withdrawals later. Don't go into a networking event, whether it be virtual or in person, and try to take. Just be a giver when you go there. People think, wow, that person really likes to give. I want to help them out too. They'll feel obligated to you.
In the sun.
LinkedIn. Someone jumping in for me? LinkedIn tips. Value eyeballs over ears. So what I mean by that is ears would be how many connections you have, people you can directly talk to. Okay, people think LinkedIn, that's the value. That's not the value of LinkedIn. The value of LinkedIn is how many viewers you have, the eyeballs looking at your stuff. So LinkedIn is not about a phone book. You can call up people and ask for things. LinkedIn is like your own podcast almost, your own radio station, your own TV station. People are watching you all the time. When I go to networking events, I'll usually talk to someone and first they'll like shake their head and say, oh, I know you. They know the name when they see my badge, but don't know my face maybe. I read all your stuff. Oh, okay, cool. That's great. Because I try to post things every couple of days, not every day. Even if my own stuff, things I read online. Find a cool article that you think, oh, that makes sense. Post it with a little comment in there. It's all you got to do. You don't need original content. Just post something up there. People start to find your brand and go, oh, I like your posts. You're like a curator of information. They'll like you. So when I go to a networking event, usually someone, oh, I read all your stuff. Cool. Then we can talk. Okay, fine. Less is more. The longer your message on LinkedIn, the less likely you're going to get a reply. You do more than a sentence or two, people are not going to reply. It looks like sales. It needs to be something very short. And cold does not equal warm. All the time I get people saying, we're connected. Can you introduce me to this person? Yeah, we're connected, but I don't even know who you are really. And you want me to introduce you to someone it doesn't work that way. So, first build up the connection, make it warm, then you can ask for something. But when you connect with someone, say at Lionsgate, I want to go to Lionsgate. Great. You connect with someone there, brand new, and the first thing you say is, can you introduce me to the CHRO? Well, who are you? What do you mean? I had someone connect last week and said, thanks for connecting. Here's my book. Can you write a foreword? I don't know who you are. What are you talking about? So relationships need to be warm before you ask for stuff, not cold. So just remember those key things. You ever seen Hamilton? And it came on Disney Plus here or before that, the play Hamilton musical, phenomenal play. Aaron Burr says to Hamilton, talk less, smile more. That would be a great advice for networking. Stop talking so much and listen, because people really don't care about you. Talk about them. If you're the person in the room talking about them, they'll go, wow, that guy's pretty great. I like what he talks about. Because he was talking about himself, talking about you, right? People like that. So those are my 5 quick tips there. Just be someone that someone wants to talk to. And usually it's if you do the radio station, they want to talk about themselves. So I'll yield the rest of my time and maybe some Q&A if anybody has any questions.
Great, thank you so much, Nury, Sean, and Lori. At this time, we will move into about a 10-minute Q&A for the 3 panelists. So if you do have initial questions, please populate them in the chat function, and we will get through as many of those questions as possible. And then we will move into the industry breakout rooms around 12:30. So let's see, questions do we have here? One question is, can you give tips on becoming a board member? And this question is from Sydney Leon.
I can answer that. My suggestion would be to whatever board you want to be on, attend their meetings regularly, meet the board members, and then see what either board positions are open or committee positions. I know a lot of the boards I'm on, we recruit to committees first, and then from there we make people board members. Usually happens pretty quick, about a year.
Thank you.
Great, thank you, Lori. Another question comes from Leilani. Should I start connecting with recruiters first or interns at my dream company?
That's my niece's name, Leilani. So I guess I might jump on that one. If you could bring value to someone, that's how you're going to connect. So I imagine recruiters probably get hit all the time. Why are you different? What are you going to bring to them? So it's something of value. So personally, I like to go straight to the top, which may or may not work for you. If I want to go to a company, I'm going right to the C-level. Well, how do you do that? The CHRO of a company on Irvine I wanted to get connected with, I watched him, I stalked him. I saw what he liked on LinkedIn, and I learned he likes boxing. So I found this video I use in class of Rocky, which talks about perseverance. I posted it, tagged him and said, hey, you might like this. He thought it was the coolest thing ever. He replies back to me. Now we're having a conversation. And eventually what happens? I'm in his office talking to him. Okay, the people you want to talk to, give them something they want. He thought that video was really cool. Not to be a video, but find some connection. Find some connection to people and they'll want to talk to you. So I don't know if recruiters are the best way. The people that actually hire are the hiring managers. And if that hiring manager tells the recruiter, I want Robin to come in. Guess what? Robin gets to come in. Recruiters are supposed to find the best talented people for them. But if the hiring manager directly asks for you, that might help.
Thank you so much.
Good name.
Great, thank you so much, Sean. Okay, our next question comes from Rich Barsumian. How about large business networking groups like Provisors? Are they worth the fees?
Nury, are you familiar with ProAdvisors? I am if you're not.
ProAdvisors on LinkedIn?
I think it's ProAdvisors is a networking group that that caters predominantly to lawyers, financial service people, and accounting firm members. I have belonged. I would say if your target audience are accounting firms, law firms, or financial service firms and or their clients, then yes, it could be worth the money. But those folks, they're lawyers, accountants, and financial service people. They will have to very quickly understand your service offerings to be able to refer you. I did not find it to be a good fit for me, but others do get a lot of value.
I would think too, Lori, if you're expecting someone else to look into you and find the value, it's not going to happen. You need to tell them what your value is or find the value. There's this great book. I'm going to plug it. Gary Burnison, he's the head of Korn Ferry. Oh, it's going to be not showing, not good. It's called Advance. So it's by Gary Burnison, Burnison. He's the CEO of Korn Ferry. He wrote a book called Advance, and it's called The Ultimate How-To Guide for Your Career. And the subtitle is, for all those who feel stuck in their careers and don't know where to go. Phenomenal book. And I wish it would not disappear when I put it up here, but it's a book called Advance. Read this book. It's not that big. Every question I have right now on this event will be answered in this book. I don't know, it's $20 or something. Go on Amazon, but phenomenal book. I highlighted the heck out of it because it's such great networking advice, career growth advice. It's just phenomenal. So grab that book and you'll have a good read. It'll take you a day or two.
Thank you, Sean and Lori. So we have a couple more questions coming in here before we move into the breakout rooms. The next question is from Bo Wu. Lori, you mentioned about a list of connections you keep in touch with. How do you pick the list and how often do you connect with them so it won't take too much of your time?
The list are my favorite people from the standpoint of they refer me work, they're insightful, they provide me information, they give me advice. They may be current clients or former clients, and I try and meet with them monthly or quarterly, depending on who they are. And it could be a phone call, it could be an article, it could be an email, it could be a LinkedIn post. And I do try and track it. I wouldn't say I'm consistent at it, but I do try.
Great, thank you, Lori. A couple more questions. The next one is from Bonnie Dubier. What is your opinion on cover letters? Are they necessary? LinkedIn has the quick apply and some applications don't require one.
If you go into those bins of applications, they're not going to see you. It's just huge, gigantic pond. You need to find the person you want to work with, get to know what they want, stalk them, and get them to like you. That's going to get you in the door. Not this crazy application where there's 1,000 applicants, right? I want to work at Activision Blizzard. Hey, I noticed that Pepperdine's a partner. I can use that as my in. I'm going to find someone in that company and connect with them. Great. And if you want to use me, say, I know you're connected to Professor Herrera at Pepperdine. I went to Pepperdine. Whatever you got to do. And then stalk them. This is being recorded, so I guess it's bad, but virtually stalk them and find out what they like. And guess what? Now you like that. Then they're going to want to talk to you. That's what you got to do. Forget these applications, cover letters. That's not going to hire you. You got to get directly to the person.
Great, thank you, Sean. Is there any additional input on that from Lori or Nury?
I was going to say, if you are applying for an entry-level job, you probably still have to go through the channels. So a cover letter might be helpful, Some of these human resource companies or departments inside the companies usually have like special words that they're looking for. So you need to make sure that whether your cover letter or your resume, but it has the key words that they're looking for in the job. So make sure you do cover those.
Great, thank you, Nury. The next question probably, I think each of you three could probably provide some good advice on this is, do you have any tips on how to go about gaining mentors?
Well, with the Alumni Leadership Council, we learned about Pep Connect. I don't know how many actually are familiar with that, but it is similar to LinkedIn. It has mostly professionals from Pepperdine. So they, most of us will say if we're willing to be mentors. So it would be a good location if you're a Pepperdine student or an alumni to connect with those who are interested.
So my wife and I met 29 years ago last Friday. That's our dating anniversary. I didn't ask her to marry her that day. We dated for a while. If you call someone, hey, can you be my mentor? That's asking to get married. You first got to talk to the person, get to know them, get to like them, have them to like you. Then once that dating goes on, then you can ask to have them be your mentor. But I had someone cold email me, be my mentor. Who are you? What are you talking about? So find someone you admire, someone you like to be like, get to know them, him or her. And then once you feel there's a relationship, then you could ask for marriage, be my mentor. But that's kind of like the process. There's a difference too. Mentors teach you, advance you, whereas sponsors advocate for you. In your company, you want to find a sponsor because they put you in their room. They try to get you where you want to be. Whereas a mentor tries to work on you personally, make you develop. So you want to find both, mentors and sponsors. And don't ask to get married day one. Come on, talk to the person first.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is I agree with both Nury and Sean. The only other thing is I would say find people in your profession and get to know them. They're more likely to want to mentor you.
Great, thank you. And as I've been acknowledging who asked the questions before, I forgot to say that Christian Quijano was the individual who asked that individual question. Another question that has come in, again from Leilani, is how can I be a competitive applicant to my dream company if I have passion for the field but not previous experience?
I think no experience is not going to get you with a cover letter application, is it? So back to my advice again, you need to find that person that has some power where you want to be, and you got to be friends with them. It takes a little while, but that's how it works. Like if you're going to crash a car, do you buy insurance after you crash or before you crash? Probably before. That's how networking works. You put in the work now, it pays off later. You don't say, oh, I'm unemployed, I better go do networking. Oh, too late. Do it ahead of time. So if you want to work with a dream company, say it's Activision Blizzard, Leilani, okay, you need to find out who works there, connect with me, see my connect. Oh, Sean's connected to the CHRO. Oh, that might be a way in. Do something like that. You got to get yourself in there. And when they like you, then they'll want to hire you. Not because you checked all these boxes on the application, the cover letter. That's just a losing cause in my opinion.
Thank you.
Anything additional to add, Nury or Lori, to that question?
I would add that, again, don't discount yourself as far as what job experience you have. It's funny, but I actually, my 15-year-old has a resume and I help him update it. And he doesn't realize how much he has done, even if it's been with nonprofits, and how much experience he has, having been a Boy Scout or whatever he's been involved in, being a leader on team management at a soccer AYSO. Like, there's so many different skills you've built, even though you may not have the actual job experience working somewhere. You could show on your application or your resume that you have this experience. So it could go a long way.
Thank you.
There's also a concept called informational networking. And so that is that you contact people that are either in the organization you want to work for or in the fields that you want to work for. And it's just trying to get information. How does somebody like myself get into this organization or this industry? How does somebody like myself get into this profession? So you're not asking them for a job. You're not selling yourself. You are indirectly, but you're just collecting information. People are open to those kinds of networking meetings.
Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks, Lori, Sean, and Nury. And we have our last question before we move into breakout rooms. And this question comes from Gabriele Tricoli. Hopefully I pronounced your name correctly. How can I gain marketing skills for the entertainment or brand marketing industries if I do not have experience in those areas?
And that chicken and the egg thing, right? How do you get in there? Catch-22. Volunteer is going to be a thing. So find something that company does. This company does volunteer work with this group. Guess where I'm going to go then? That volunteer group. And I meet people. I watch people's LinkedIn and see where they go. Oh, they like this. I'm going to like that too. Somehow bump into them and what they do, and they'll like you too. Then you'll find these chances just seem to pop into you, right? You're not going to say, can I please go, intern at your company? That's kind of hard. Oh, the CEO likes to do this volunteer work at this group. Guess where I'm going Saturday? Right. So you got to get to know these people. That's how it's going to work. They got to see your face once COVID's done and actually get to know you. Then they're going to find the opportunities in. But don't ask for it. Just be there and be something they want to talk to.
Thank you so much.
Anything that you'd like to add, Nury or Lori, to that question?
I love what Sean is the expert on LinkedIn networking, at least so I love what you said, following it. I think it is helpful to see what groups people are in. I can learn a lot about a person by what groups they're interested, who they follow. Before I talk to someone, I'm usually checking them out on LinkedIn to get a sense of even where they went to school. You'd be amazed how many people have gone to Pepperdine.
Thank you.
And if you've taken any classes like in marketing, you may want to have an endorsement from your professor on your LinkedIn so that it'll look like you have some experience or that you did well in his class or her class.
Here's something else, Jason, not this same topic though, but if you're trying to stalk somebody, whatever, and you want to get to like them and they're written up in some article, you post that article and you say, great job at whoever, great article. They love that. That's just ego building. So, if you're stalking someone, find them when they show up in articles and you post it yourself, or find something that they'd like. Hey, Susan, I thought you'd like this article. Boom. That just gets you on their radar. Do that kind of stuff all the time.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Sean and Nury and Lori. At this time, we will be moving into our industry breakout rooms. And before we move in there, I would like to give a big thank you and shout out to David Perez, who is our technology expert, who works fearlessly in the background, helping to get everyone divided into the breakout rooms and helps all of our webinars and Zoom meetings run as smooth as possible. So I'd like to give a big shout out to David for that. And I will turn it over to Nicole so that we can go into the breakout rooms.
Hi, everyone. I think I'm on. Hey, everyone. My name is Kimberly Tash, and I'm a career coach with the Career and Professional Development team here at Pepperdine Graziadio Business School. And I just want to first off say thank you to Nicole Green and Jason Severs and the rest of the alumni engagement team for having me on to discuss the services that our Graziadio career and professional development team provides to our alumni and students. And so I wanted to start off by, I'm going to give a list of some services we provide, a brief overview, but first off, I wanted to give you some contact information. If you ever need to reach out to any member of our team, we have a main email address, which is cpd@pepperdine.edu, and the phone number is 310-506-4106. And there's links here to our About page and our LinkedIn page, which I believe will be shared with all of you via PDF after the webinar today. And just a brief overview, I started working with the career and professional development team back in January. I work with a number of programs at Graziadio Business School. We have a full team of staff here to support our alumni and students on their career search. And we have a number of platforms that we use to help you. The first one being Handshake. And I'm going to have you there. Thank you so much. So Handshake is a tool you may have or may not be familiar with. It is fairly new. We brought it on to use at our school back in July, and it's basically your gateway to make appointments with your career coach as an alumnus or a student. You can also find some great resources out there that you can access that will help you find career-related events, that will help you find job and internship postings, and help you to utilize a number of employer-related research resources. So it is a great tool. Also, we use Career Leader. That is an assessment tool to get an idea of your skill sets, motivations, and what you enjoy about the workplace to help you decide on a career path for you. Some of you are in the midst of a very promising career. Some of you want to make a change to your career, or if you're a new job seeker, the Career Leader assessment will help you. If you have not taken a Career Leader assessment to help you find a career path that might be right for you, you can contact our team. I also want to tell you about some other things offered. We do have for alumni micro internships, which are a number of smaller projects offered to you by the platform Parker Dewey. Basically, it is the equivalent of a small range internship. They're short term, and they give you access and the ability to work with companies on smaller projects, something the equivalent that you'd have on a full range internship or as a new hire for a company. It looks great on your resume to have a micro internship there, and it helps you form those employer connections that are quite valuable to you. Those are some of the platforms that we can use to assist you, but we do a number of other things. We help you to develop job search strategies. And real quick, I just want to tell you that a number of people, be it student, alumnus, or just general job seekers, feel like, I don't need help from a career coach. I know how to write a resume. I know how to apply for jobs. But the problem is so many people go out there and they start applying for new positions and they're not getting the feedback. It feels like their applications are going into a black hole. We have different strategies for you to try that are proven and successful. So we'd love for you to touch base with your career coach to see how we'll help you strategize your job search, as well as for those of you who would like to change careers or embark on a new one, how we can help you decide upon a career path that's right for you. We also help you with your resume, cover letter, interviewing tactics and negotiation skills, and career transition and growth. So we're here for all your career-related needs. We also have a number of events and case competitions that are available, career and professional development workshops for you to keep an eye out for. They are such a terrific way not only to get information on various industries and companies, but to connect with potential professional network contacts as well. With case study competitions, lunch and learns, etc. So not only do I hope to see you well virtually in our office, so to speak, with meeting with your career coach and making use of our department, but I'd also love to see all of you at our events out here. we are here to provide support for your career in any way you'd like. So again, our contact information will be supplied to you via this slideshow that I believe, again, will be sent to you via PDF, and all of our contact information is on there. Thank you so much, and thanks Alumni Engagement for letting me speak today.
Great, thank you so much, Kimberly. And yes, the PowerPoint presentation will be provided in the post-event thank you email. I will turn it over to Dean Bernice Ledbetter, who will give our closing remarks today.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jason, so much. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. We hope that you found today's webinar helpful and supportive of your career navigation skills, as that will be something that you will participate in and embrace really for the duration of your career. As we close out this session on navigating your career in a virtual world, we want to remind you that this is a 6-part series. This is number 1. So please keep an eye out for session number 2 that will take place in February, which is it's going to be right around the corner. So keep an eye out for that and join us again for this opportunity to continue to refine your skills for navigating your career. I also want to encourage you to stay connected with us on social media and other online communities. Don't get too far away. We love to stay in touch with you, students and alums. And we also want to invite you to keep us in your thoughts as you move across the journey of your career and you experience success. Please reach back to us and tell us about that. We'd love to highlight your career successes. So keep us posted on that, and we'd love to make sure that the world knows about your success. We also want you to please keep in mind that Graziadio is your main source of lifelong learning. So again, take advantage of the resources that we have to offer through our alumni career development, our Dean's Executive Leadership Speaker Series, and a number of other kinds of events. Make us your home base for lifelong learning. We'd love for you to come back and enjoy that and stay with us if you're a student for these opportunities. And finally, I just want to say a big thank you to our alums and speakers who gave us their tips and insights and wisdom, and to our breakout facilitators. Thank you so much for the gift of your time and your insight that you shared with participants today. That's the most valuable experience that we could have right now. And that's an opportunity for networking. All of the people that you experienced your breakout room with, make sure you connect with them on LinkedIn. So with that, I am happy to close out our session today. I do want to wish everyone a wonderful holiday season. To you, your family and loved ones, be safe, be healthy, and have a joyous holiday season. Thank you so much, everyone. We are adjourned.